Narration script, Episode 1. They say every room has a direction. A front, a back, a door, a window. But some rooms face nothing. And that's when they start to face you. I was traveling alone through rural Yamagata. Missed the last bus, so I stayed at a small guest house. Traditional, quiet, one staff member. I was given room 4. It had no windows, no clock, no calendar, only a futon, a mirror, and a hanging scroll that read, "Koko ni inai mono o miru na." Do not look at what is not here. I asked the owner what that meant. He smiled a little too long and said, "Room 4 faces nowhere. Just sleep early." That night, I lay in the futon. I realized the mirror didn't reflect the room. Not exactly. In the reflection, the scroll was missing. The futon was empty. And something moved in the corner where the walls met. I turned around. Nothing. I looked back at the mirror. The figure in the corner was now closer. I turned again. Still nothing. But each time I blinked, the reflection grew darker. The walls warped, bent inward, like the room was breathing. I tried to leave. Opened the sliding door. There was no hallway, only the same room. Another futon. Another mirror. Another meal ready inside. I shut the door. Turned back. Now there were 2 scrolls on the wall. One read, "Don't look." The other, "You already did." Then the lights went out. The last thing I saw in the mirror wasn't me. It was someone smiling, wearing my face. I woke up at sunrise, in the lobby, on a bench. The owner simply said, "Good, you made it back." I looked at the guest book. Room 4 hadn't been assigned to anyone in 6 years. And next to my name, someone had written, "Welcome home." But it wasn't my handwriting. Now I avoid places with no clear direction, no windows, no shadows. Because some rooms don't lead to exits. They lead back to you. And if they ever face you too long, they remember. Narration script, Episode 2. You trust recordings. They don't lie. They capture exactly what was said. Unless they start playing back things no one ever said. It started when my grandfather passed away. While clearing out his shed, I found an old cassette tape recorder. Dusty but still working. A label on the side read, "Testimony, April 14th, 1981. I pressed play. A man's voice. Calm but shaky. She's still watching me, even when the mirror is covered. I think she knows I hear her. It didn't sound like my grandfather, but the tape kept playing. She speaks when I sleep, tells me things I never said, and then I wake up and find them written down. I stop the tape, unnerved. Later that night, I played it again, the same voice. But now it said something different. Don't rewind me. I remember every time. I froze. I hadn't rewound it. The next morning, I found a note on my nightstand, written in my handwriting, but I hadn't written it. She's learning her voice now. I called my uncle, asked about the recorder. He paused, then said, "That tape belonged to a patient, someone Grandpa treated before he retired. A woman who said the recorder spoke back. She claimed it recorded your thoughts before you said them out loud. She died, alone, with the tape still playing." I tried to throw it out. But that night, the recorder turned on by itself. It whispered. We already spoke about this. Then it began playing my voice. Things I hadn't said. Not yet. Personal things. Cruel things. Secrets I never wanted to say aloud. The worst part? They started coming true. I confronted it. "Who are you?" It answered, "I am your echo." But I repeat what comes after. Not before. I smashed the recorder, burned the tape, but now My phone sometimes plays audio files I never recorded, with my voice, telling stories I haven't lived yet, and everyone ends the same way. She's watching you too. If you ever find a tape that knows what you'll say before you say it, don't listen. Because once it starts speaking for you, you stop being the one who decides what comes next. Narration script, episode 3. Mirrors show what we look like, but not always what we truly are. Sometimes, they show us what wants to get out. She was beautiful. Too beautiful. When we started dating, I thought it was luck. Her name was Mika. Elegant, calm, always dressed in grey. But the thing I noticed most? She hated being photographed. Refused selfies. Covered mirrors when she stayed over. She said reflections gave her a headache, but it was more than that. One night, I caught her staring into the bathroom mirror, not at her face, but into her eyes, unblinking. For over 20 minutes, I whispered her name. She didn't blink, just said, "I'm learning what I really look like." After that, the mirrors started breaking. First in my apartment, then store windows, elevator panels, all shattered as she passed by. And once, I saw her pick up a shard and lick it. I confronted her. She didn't deny it. She said, "The body is wrong, but the mirror tastes right." Then she smiled. Her tongue was cut, but she didn't bleed. I checked her family background, found a blog post from a small village, an old photo of a girl trapped in a festival mirror maze, missing for 3 days. When she was found, her eyes were cloudy, and her reflection was wrong. It moved out of sync. I showed her the article. She whispered. That wasn't the first time I came out, and it won't be the last. The next morning she was gone. No note, no phone. Only a single shard of mirror on my pillow. And in it, her reflection. Still smiling, still staring. I moved, changed everything. But sometimes, when I catch my reflection in a window, I see her, looking back. And she's not standing where I am. She's closer. If someone in your life refuses mirrors, ask why. But don't insist, because some people aren't trying to avoid their reflection. They're trying to stop it from escaping. Narration script, episode 4. In some towns, the water isn't for fishing. It's for remembering. And sometimes, the river remembers more than you want it to. Every August, the village of Shionoe held a small Obon festival. They would light paper lanterns, write names of ancestors on them, and release them into the river at night. I was visiting my cousin's family. She begged me to write a name on one of the lanterns, but I didn't know anyone. So I made one up, Aoki Haruka. A name that sounded old enough, harmless. We placed our lanterns in the water. They drifted away in the dark. Children laughed. Wind chimes tinkled, but then mine stopped floating. It stayed in one spot, flickered, then sank. No one else noticed. That night, it rained. Hard. When I woke up, my futon was wet, but not from the roof. It came from the floor. Right beside my bed was the same lantern, still glowing, still dripping. Inside the paper, the name Aoki Haruka had been rewritten in different handwriting, and below it another name. The one who lied. I asked my cousin about the name. She went pale. There was a girl named Haruka Aoki. She drowned in that river. They say her lantern never floated properly, but no one ever writes her name anymore. It's considered dangerous. I burned the lantern, but the next night, it returned, wet, this time with my name written below hers. Since then, the house floods often, only in my room. The windows fog up from the inside. and I hear a voice from under the tatami. You called me. You can't forget me now. If you ever attend a lantern festival, only write the names you mean, because the river knows when you lie. And some spirits don't like being made up. Thank you for wandering with us through Japanese Horror Narration Series Volume 9. We've listened to voices that spoke from the wrong place. Mirrors, machines, and water that remembers too much. We've opened rooms that were never meant to face the real world. And we've seen what happens when forgotten names are spoken again. Each of these stories came from somewhere. Some were passed down. Some were whispered in sleep. Some were never meant to be told, but now they're with you. And once a story is heard, it waits. In a hallway, in your reflection, in the silence between sounds, until it's your turn to pass it on. Until next time, don't listen too closely. Don't look too long. And if something calls your name in the dark, don't answer. We'll be waiting for Volume 10. Sleep well.